This is Phil Parrots, Media Inc., your 4-minute mentor. I've been a sales and sales management professional for several decades, and my favorite sales methodology is spin selling. Neil Rackham is a speaker and writer on sales and marketing. 3 of his books have been on the New York Times bestseller list, and his works have been translated into over 50 languages. He is an entrepreneur. He owns Huthwaite International, an international research and consulting firm. His methodology, spin selling, shows you how to implement the proven tools and techniques outlined in that cutting-edge guide. He shows you how to apply the tools and techniques to your selling situation, using practical skill-building exercises incorporated into each chapter addressing the sales of services and capital goods. The Field Book provides you with a hands-on implementation guide for applying spin in a wide range of businesses, from localized companies to large multinationals. SPIN stands for situation questions, problem questions, implied needs, and the need payoff. The 4 stages of a sales call are straightforward and essential for a successful interaction. These stages include opening, investigation, demonstrating your capability, and finally, obtaining commitment. The process is very clear-cut. Starting with the opening, you have your preliminaries explaining the purpose of your call. Position yourself to ask questions and then get permission to continue. Investigating is asking good questions. My rule of thumb is that if something is on their website or brochures, don't waste your prospect's time asking about it. Instead, verify or validate. Then, move on to understanding your buyer's needs and concerns, and at this point, start developing implied needs into explicit needs. Once you have passed the investigation, you show how you and your company can add value or demonstrate capability. Keep in mind that this does not necessarily have to be linear, and sometimes your objectives will show up elsewhere in the process. Demonstrating capability has to be based on the customer's needs and addressed based on their true implied or explicit needs. Finally, obtain commitment. This addresses whether or not their key benefits are resolved. You summarize benefits and then propose a realistic commitment. That commitment may be the sale or advancing the sale, meaning that the customer isn't ready to buy yet, but that will keep the process moving forward. The questioning techniques are the most essential part of this process. There's an old saying, you have 2 ears and 1 mouth, use them proportionately. So ask, shut up, and listen to your customer. They will always tell you how they want to be sold. Questions are the most effective form of verbal behavior you can use to persuade, and that's not just in selling. Closed questions can be answered with a single word, often yes or no. Open questions require longer, more descriptive answers, often asking, could you tell me something about? Or why is that important to you? While these questions are easy to ask, they bring little value to the buyer and can aggravate him if asked too many times. The most effective situation questions are targeted toward customer problems. With situation questions, you collect facts and background data about the customer's existing situation relevant to your products and services. Problem questions go a little deeper. They probe for problems, difficulties, or dissatisfactions. They prompt the buyer to state needs for which we can provide solutions. The best way to plan problem questions is to previously set a minimum of 3 potential customer problems on a form and then plan examples of questions that will be used to highlight these issues. Discover the implications of customer problems related to our business solutions. These questions are much more difficult to ask and require careful planning because of their importance in the development of implied needs to explicit needs. Implication questions must be planned by considering the possible impacts associated with the customer's potential problems. To begin your planning on the problems and their possible impact, use the following model: botch, bottlenecks, other people affected, time lost, wasted or needed, and costs associated with these problems and hassles. The beauty of the questions is that, when answered, you have an idea of how your solutions can save or increase time, money, and other resources. This is what starts to happen when you move to need payoff questions. Need payoff questions are intended to develop the buyer's desire for a solution to their problems. They are certainly the most difficult to ask effectively. Need payoff questions should start from the implied needs and develop toward the explicit needs. It makes sense to ask need payoff questions only when the buyer recognizes the severity of the problems and the urgency of finding a solution to them. It is easier to ask these questions by adopting the ICE method. Identify, clarify, and expand. Ask open and closed questions to further expand the long-term benefits of a solution for the customer's business environment. Now, all of this may not happen in a day. Sometimes you're not closing on the actual sale, but at a stage in the sales process. This could be a full-fledged demonstration of what you are selling. You want to get the buyer's reaction throughout the entire process. Dr. Marabian led a study devising a formula to describe how the mind determines meaning. He concluded that the interpretation of a message is 7% verbal, 38% vocal, and 55% visual. This is why it's essential to watch for and get visual clues. The objective is to win the sale, and there are only 2 scenarios: win it or lose it. In my mind, an advance is a win. You are moving towards sales success. Here, the loss would be a continuation without any set goals. If you look at smaller and larger sales, your ultimate goal is to win the sale. With complex sales, this would also be an agreement to keep moving the sale forward. Although not a win for the day, it is a win looking toward the future. Gaining commitment is close. You have an opening, investigation, physical demonstration of your product, and finally, obtaining commitment, including checking that the key concerns are resolved, the benefits have been summarized, and then propose a realistic commitment to advance the sale or the sale itself. This is Phil Parrots, your 4-minute mentor. If you would like Media Inc. to work with your sales team, go to www.mediamediainc.com and fill out our contact form. For a copy of the Spin Selling Field Book, go to Amazon.